Well, hello everyone, and welcome to another episode of Talking Walking Football with me, the cat, and Hassan. And this week's special guest is the great former manager now of the Hornets, Paul Reardon. Hello, Paul. Nice to see you.
Good evening, Tom. Good evening, Hassan.
Good evening,
So,
Paul.
so look, let's start with this because this is hot off the press. You've done 2.5 seasons, I think, as
Something like
Hornets
that.
boss.
Yeah.
But finally, you said enough is enough, and I'm walking away from it. What was behind that decision?
It's a bit more than that, Tony. It's the workload involved coincides with my busiest time of year. To be work related, to be honest, the winter months, as you know what I do for a living, are very stressful. And I mean, Hassan backed me up. The managing of a football team is going incredibly lot behind the scenes as well. And I just couldn't feel like I could dedicate enough time to do that. And I'm not a qualified coach.
Oh, you
So
did
I
all right.
figured I'd probably taken the Hornets as far as I could with my limited football knowledge. And to be honest, I would rather just play a little bit more. That was
Well,
that was
that's
my basis of thoughts.
yeah. I mean, that's a very great thing. Hassan, you go along with that. There's a lot more
Yeah,
to it
yeah,
than
of
meets
course.
the eye.
There's so much going on behind the scenes, and you can't please everybody. Washing the kits, arranging fixtures, it's a nightmare. I mean, people think it's just easy and it just happens, but nothing just happens. And I think that Paul done a fantastic job with the Hornets, and very first game, I think they drew with the double winning champions, their Hastings United team, but.
Yeah.
It sort of they didn't get beat by many teams really until they played me at the end of the season. I think I was their bogey side, but yeah,
Yeah, but here's the thing. You know, Paul, before you took over, the Hornets were stuffed on a weekly basis by
Yeah.
4 or 5 or 6 goals. And it
Mm.
is so dispiriting when you're bottom of the league and everything else. But you instilled, I don't know what you call it, a little bit of Reardon magic was sprinkled. And I have to say, the team spirit was fantastic. And I'm on the WhatsApp group that you're in when you announced your departure. And the flood of messages from everyone saying, "Oh, Gaffer, we're going to miss you." Blah blah blah. It's wrong to say brought a tear to my eye, but you know what I
Yeah.
mean. Everybody was full of praise and admiration. And let's not forget that you're a busy man. You run this oil company in Rye, don't you? That's
Mm.
your business. And at the moment, that must be a huge worry. I mean, are you sort of affected by the closure of the Straits of Hormuz?
mm,
Um, it not directly, indirectly, of course we are. Yeah, I mean the price is always passed on to us. We're pretty much bottom of the food chain, apart from the consumer, but with no disrespect to them. So it's stressful. Of course, it's hard, and of course people think we're profiteering thanks to the media, which we're not. Otherwise, I'll be doing this from the Cayman Islands, wouldn't I? But there you go. On a more footballing related thing, though, the Hornets have been an absolute pleasure to work with, each and every one of them. Um, and I figure at the end of the day, all we want to do at our age is just go and kick a football about in the park with our mates. That's pretty much what it boils down to. So the my theory on the management side was just give everybody a fair game if I could.
Mm.
And I do think that was appreciated. I don't think we expected to win the league at the beginning of the season, but as long as we've gone out and we can hold our head up high and we can give 100% and all the normal cliches, then we can look ourselves in the eye, can't we? Apart from that
Absolutely.
last game with the sound, of
You're
course.
so right. You're so right.
Yeah.
And, going out in the
no,
brand
Paul.
spanking new kit and the fellas paid a bit extra to have their names on the back. And
Mm.
it was just fantastic. And, they're never gonna forget what you've done for them. So well done. Now, I want to take you back now. So
Mm.
you're known in the cage back in the day where we started as West Ham Paul. That was your name because you're a hammer. But where does that come from? Are you a London boy? Where's the West Ham support come from?
Well, this well, I think this will quite amuse Hassan. I was brought up in the Black Fen area of South London, and when I went to school, aged 5, there was 2 teams that were supported in that school: West Ham and Charlton. I mean, they're opposite sides of the river, and I suppose depending on what clique you got into at school, aged 5, you picked your team, and I picked West Ham.
Wow.
And my grandfather, he was from Shooters Hill, Hassan, and a big Charlton fan. The first league game I ever went to was Charlton against Bristol City on a Tuesday night at the Old Valley. But my other grandfather was they were from West London, Chiswick area. He was a Fulham fan, and he turned up on my door one day, lads, in 1975, with 2 tickets for the cup final, and said, "Come on, Paul, we're going to a football match." The first ever game I went to was West Ham against Fulham in 1975.
In the cup,
he was a Fulham fan. I was a West Ham fan, and you can't change your team, can you?
No, that's amazing. No. Was that what was the scorer? What was the name of the West Ham scorer?
2-0. Alan Whippet Taylor.
He was.
Was it Alan?
Yeah. He was we was from Rochdale, a winger.
He was. That's right.
We had Billy Jennings from Watford. Jennings and Alan. I was a West Ham supporter sort of before Mervyn Day saved Derek Howe shot, and then I went over to Charlton, 1974-75. So, yeah, West Ham was Clyde Best, Jeff Hurst, but Bobby Moore was actually playing for Fulham in the final.
He was, yeah.
Yeah.
He was.
So who did Fulham beat in the semi-final? I can't remember.
Oh, I can't even remember. West Ham beat Everton, I believe.
Ipswich.
It was Ipswich. Maybe Everton was in.
West Ham beat Ipswich at Stamford Bridge. I was selling tickets.
Oh, yeah.
I was the ticket down. I was making money back in the day.
Yeah, of course you were.
Yeah. Now tell us, Paul, about your start with football as a kid, and we would like to get the full story. Did you play at school? Were you playing in the street, in the park? What was your story?
Well, it obviously started off like a load of 5-year-olds chasing a tennis ball around the playground. That's how we all start, isn't it? And it progresses to the proverbial jumpers from a goalpost in the park. The school in London I went to didn't have a football pitch, from what I can remember, and we moved out of there down to Rye, Winchelsea area in 1977, where we did have a football team. But it was basically there. But my real first football was at Icklesham Casuals, Tony.
The Icklesham Casuals.
Yeah. I played for them under 10s, under 12s, 13s. But they had a good youth set up there, run by a fellow who I'll never ever forget, called Will Dunlop. He was 60 odd years old, and he ran the youth team. He used to walk from Peck, because he didn't have a driving license. He used to walk from Peck to Icklesham to manage these youth football teams, and then walk back after the game. And he's always had a big impact on my life as old Will Dunlop. Fantastic man. But he's probably what grassroots football is all about.
Yeah.
And he influences kids and encouraging them to play football, and it was a thoroughly enjoyable time of my life.
That's fantastic. Let me just tell you my only Icklesham story. I once compared a concert, and the leader of a singing group there, the Winchelsea Singers, had a lisp, and so when he spoke, he said, "It's the Winchelsea Singers," you see. And when I introduced this group, I used to say, "Ladies and gentlemen, it's the Winchelsea Singers." And I saw him in town, this guy, and he said, "You can't take the piss out of me anymore." He said, "Because I've moved." And I said, "Oh, where have you gone?" And he said, "I've gone to Icklesham," he said, which is even worse. So, Paul, what were you? Because actually, now, as a grown-up, should we say, you play in goal, you play up front, you play right back. What was your chosen position?
In my youth, when I could run around more than I could today, I was on the right side of midfield. I was never ever defender. Occasionally up front. I played for the school, Thomas Peacock. I went there, in the second team, and I was the goalkeeper for the second team. I was never quite good enough for the first team, or I
Well,
wasn't
you're
in the right clicks. You
pretty
know what
good in
Rye's
goal.
like. It was, yeah, yeah.
I'd agree with that, Hassan. How do you rate him as a goalkeeper?
Top notch. I don't know. We went to the hangar a few years back when we first started out, and I remember Paul went in goal, and they couldn't score past him.
Yeah.
It was a shock because I hadn't seen him in goal, and he was diving everywhere and saving everything.
Yeah. Well, nothing's changed because this past season, you've been in goal more than you've been on the pitch, Paul, haven't you? And yeah, I think
Oh,
you've done a sterling job.
yeah. Well, thank you, Tony. I started off in goal first two games. I think it was, and to be honest, you got you and Jeremy also that are goalkeepers, and we've got to give everyone a go. I don't take a massive amount of pleasure playing goal. I must admit, I have good games and bad games, but I don't enjoy it as much as I do running around and kicking the ball about.
Yeah. Oh, well, that's nice. That's nice to know. That's nice
Mm.
to know. So right, so let's go back. So you've done the kids stuff.
Yeah.
You've got this fabulous mentor, the fella that walks all the way from Pet to Icklesham to train you. Now,
Mm.
as you get older, do you progress? Are you playing Sunday League? I mean, what's your story then?
I did, Tony. I had a break. I was in the army for 5 years, where I didn't play football at all. I came out in '87, and between '87 and '90, I played for Westfield up on their old pitch up there.
Yeah, I know where it is.
Yeah, the warm up. I don't know if you were playing at this time of year. The warm up involved a couple of pints in the Harrow and a cigarette before the game, and that was our warm up.
I
But
thought they've
yeah, I
got a
played there.
proper ground now, Westfield. They're right
Oh,
up on the
it's superb, isn't it?
sector.
Facility they've got.
Yeah,
Yeah, yeah,
no, I remember.
yeah.
What
Nice
were you
bit.
in, Paul, when you were in the army? What were you in?
I was a Royal Engineer, Tony.
Were you? My dad was a Royal Engineer, and
Oh, there you go.
we've never spoken about this. My dad was a 23-year Royal Engineer veteran.
No, I'll take my
So
hat off to him.
we'll have to have a chat about where
We
you
will
were
do.
and everything else.
We will do. Yeah,
So,
yeah. I mean,
right. So that's your sort of Sunday League. I think it was the same for everyone. I played for Tenby United Sunday League, and there was more time spent in the pub and smoking fags than there was training. And you
yeah,
get to the match, and there'd be 9 players, and 2 of them hadn't turned up because they've overslept because they've been out
yeah,
till 4 in the morning. It's that
yeah.
kind of thing,
That's
isn't it?
exactly how it was. Yep, yep, exactly
It's
how it was.
crazy,
Yeah,
but somehow we always managed to get a team and get a
yeah,
reasonable showing. It's funny how it
yeah,
works out.
yeah. It
So,
is funny how it works out.
how did you get into the walking football? Who
Well,
introduced you?
here we go with this one. I left Hastings in 1990 when they were giving away council houses in Milton Keynes, and I went up there. I didn't come back to 2011, and I didn't play football in that entire time. Now, I was at a West Ham game. I'd had a few beers, as you probably have to when you're watching West Ham. And I got speaking to another couple of fellas who you may well know, Tony, Dave Hagar and Wayne Grant.
Yes, yeah,
These two
remember
fellas,
them.
yeah. Well, I'd never met them before, and I met them on a train. They were drunk, obviously, you know them as well. And they said, yeah, why don't you come to walking football in the cage on a Monday? I said, walking football. I said, what's that? So they sort of explained it a little bit. I said, we'll be there. And I said, all right, then I'll come down. And I did, and I came. They never showed up. I think they were still recovering from the game. But I turned up, and the rest is sort of history. That's how I got into walking football. It's the cage, just like
Yeah,
yourself and Hassan there.
yeah,
Yeah,
exactly. But who was
yeah.
there that first night you went? Who's there that's
Oh,
still
blimey,
around now?
I can't remember. This was the time where there was a lot of Scousers. Do you remember, Tony? There was Joe the window cleaner and the big tall painter and decorator. Paul was his name.
Paul Fagan.
Yeah,
That's it,
him, yeah.
Paul
Paul
Fagan.
Fagan.
Yeah,
Paul Fagan. Yeah, and there was another one. I can't remember who it was. And you remember Joe? I'm not sure Paul Hutton possibly was there then. Um, Phil was the other one, of course. How can you forget Phil?
yeah, yeah. Of course, yeah,
Of course,
Tibbets.
yeah.
Yeah, yeah. Forget
Uh,
him.
but
So,
you may
so
remember we used to go down there. Sometimes there's only 2 or 3 people there,
yeah,
especially if
it's
the weather was
crazy. I
shocking.
mean, but once it took off, it really took off,
You did?
So
didn't
when
it?
did it actually start in the cage then?
Well,
When
God,
did it?
it must have been 2 years prior to my involvement. I think I got involved in, like, I don't know, 17 to 2017,
Yeah,
18.
me.
Yeah, well, I can work it out because I was in my 50s and I'm just coming not in my 50s anymore this year. So it's going to be 10 years, nine
Yeah,
years
10 years.
minimum.
10 years.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
10 years. Because remember that game at the at the place in Eastbourne, Hassan, you were talking about there. I was only 50 then, or 51. That's why I was in goal.
Yeah, it's been nine,
Yeah.
10 years, but I think you introduced when I said, could I come along and play? I think you was there with my
I
very
did.
first go, and that was 2017.
Yeah.
It's
If memory
funny,
serves
isn't
me
it?
correct, Hassan, your tennis partner didn't show up.
I
You were
don't
playing
know. I
tennis.
thought I'd been
You were,
playing tennis, but
Yes,
you
Paul,
were,
you're right. You're right.
yeah,
Hassan, you went to play tennis and ended up playing football.
football. He did.
yeah, never looked back since, did I?
No,
Made some new
exactly.
friends,
Yeah, you
Exactly.
did. You did.
I was
and I'm
just
not
having
allowed
a
to do
I was just having a mental count up of how many hammers there are in the club.
Mhm.
So
And they're all called Paul, aren't
there's
they? Yeah,
Paul Hutton, there's
yeah,
old John.
yeah,
Do you remember
West Ham John.
what's his
yeah.
surname?
John Martin,
John
John
Martin,
Martin. Who
Paul
else?
Torrance,
Dave Hager.
Paul Torrance,
Paul Torrance.
Dave
Yeah,
Hager. Well, we don't see Dave anymore, but okay, we'll
no,
count him. That's five.
that's fine. There's and Andy Fleming, weirdly, is a West Ham fan, isn't
Yes,
he?
Yeah.
you're
Yeah,
right. Posh was a
he
West
is.
Ham
Gosh,
fan.
yeah,
That's
yeah,
extraordinary because
yeah.
at the minute it's completely dominated by Gooners. Hastings United is like a real Gooners haven, isn't it?
Isn't it just? Yeah, it's horrible to
It's
see, isn't it?
I, it's crawling with Gooners. Oh, that's extraordinary. I'd forgotten about some of those names. It's nice to
Yeah,
get
yeah,
it.
yeah.
Do you remember when we made that video and Paul Hager lent us his ambulance and he went in one end of it in his paramedic kit and came out in his Hastings shirt the
Yeah,
other
yeah,
side? Do you remember that?
yeah,
Those are good
yeah, yeah,
days, weren't they? Those were
yeah,
good days.
yeah.
So,
Oh,
Hassan, I want to
Hmm.
talk a little about our tournament at the weekend. We went over, Paul, to Bognor Regis on Sunday,
yeah.
uh, a Hassan invitation sort of seven. And we played teams that we've never come across before. We played Portsmouth, we played Havant, we played Bognor. Who else, Hassan?
Frimley.
Frimley. Places,
Um,
we'd never seen these lads before. And it's
Mm,
very odd when you play against people and you've never seen them kick a ball. Because when they're
mm,
passing it about before you start, I was saying to Hassan, Christ, they look hard. Look at
mm.
them. Look at all those shaven headed buggers over there. They look like rock hard and everything else. But
Yeah.
actually, I mean, we didn't do very well. We played 6 games. We drew, what do we? Drew four, lost
two.
two. No, lost four, drew two.
Mm,
But again, it was 1-0s and 2-0s. There was no
We were
hammerings or anything.
leading in a lot of the games, and we should have. The substitutions, I think, didn't help. The
Yeah,
no.
first game we
No.
lost, we only lost 2-0, and they were the eventual winners of the whole tournament. They were the best team. Haven't.
yeah. But my question is this, I'll ask you both it. I'll ask you first, Sam. Is it easier playing against people that you've never played before or people that you know?
You know how the people play that you play against day in, day out. It's different. But playing against people you've never played against before goes back to the West Sussex and East Sussex. They're all organised. They pass the ball into the corners, and boy, some of them could shoot. I mean, that first goal you conceded in the first game, I
Yeah,
think
don't
you got
remind
an
me
early
about that.
Christmas present.
Christ, almost took my hand off.
Nearly took your head off a bit. I mean, it was just, yeah, they could shoot. I mean, as you get older, I think that you think that their shooting would not be so hard. But as you know, I played in the 50s in the latter three games and played a lot better playing with people I hadn't played with before. The
Yeah,
guys
that
from
was
Bognor
bizarre. That
Regis.
was bizarre, Paul. He was playing obviously in the over 65s team
Mm.
with us, and he just got a rush of blood and was ranting and raving and effing and blinding and like really sort of went. Oh, other people on other pitches were saying, "Who is that bloke shouting over there?"
Right.
And it was him.
Mm.
And then having
Completely
played
lost
our
it.
sort of 6 games, he went to play for one of the teams that was short in the 50s,
Okay.
and he just stood in the middle,
I
stroked
played.
the ball
I had to
around.
step.
Yeah,
Oh,
it
there
was
was too many
ridiculous.
people watching. There was too many people watching, waiting for me to foul and get battered.
Yeah.
And there was no way I was going to get battered.
Well, you
And we had
didn't.
Ricky in goal, so it was. Yeah, I stepped up to the mark.
You did.
Yeah.
So, Paul,
And
what
there was
about
a couple
you?
of really good players.
Would you rather play in a competitive match against people you know or people you don't know?
Well, I think I mentioned it before. The game we played, we got the goalless draw against the first team early in the season. Was reasonably easy to set up against that because we know them so well. But also we because we play in this league, we generally, as time progresses, we get to know the other teams more and more, don't we? So you know the danger about you Alan Osmonds and Steve Overses and these sort of players. You get to know them more and more as you progress. It's harder when you lose against the people you know, for sure.
Yeah.
That's a bitter pill to swallow. But funny enough, I should have been playing in Bognor Regis because I was also invited, me and Alan Brown and a couple of others, to join a couple of the Bexhill boys to go over there.
Well, they cancelled last minute.
They cancelled. I got up at 7:30 for my lift, Tony, and there was my WhatsApp message. It's cancelled.
Lord.
Two of them were pulled out overnight. Yeah,
that's who I ended up playing for. The scratch team was who I played for.
Yeah,
it was put together with a few players from different teams.
Yeah, well, this was put together from a few people from different teams. Yeah.
That's
this here. What we're talking about here is a great advocate of the walking football community, though, is it not?
Yeah,
we're playing different players from different teams, doing exactly that. Yeah,
isn't that great? I mean, that
yes,
you know, other people from a different town can say, "Look, when you come and play for us, blah blah blah." I love
absolutely.
that. I love
that. So do I. So do I.
Fact is that you see people. I see people are going to town for coffee, whatever, and I see people walking around that I might not have seen for 6 months, but they're walking footballers. It's hello, town, and it's kind of it's hail fellow well met, which is really nice. Really nice. Now listen, we've got some Police 5 news. Do you remember Police 5 with Shaw Taylor on telly?
Taylor, yeah. Is it?
So there's some Police 5. I must just now, Hassan, you have to be quiet because we have to be very careful about this because no charges have been made. However, Sussex Police are seeking a walking footballer who left his iPhone, in the cage at Bexhill. This chap, who shall remain nameless, rang Hassan and said, "Oh, have you got my phone? Have you found my phone?" And Hassan didn't have it. So he went over to Bexhill College and he climbed over the outer gates at the college, setting off every alarm and every security camera in the courtyard. And then he scales, using a lamppost outside this cage, he scales up the side of it and flicks commando-like into the cage, and sure enough gets his phone. But once he's in the cage, he can't get out. So he's stuck in the cage. So basically, he's been captured on 15 different video cameras, so they know exactly what's gone on. And he called a relative who turned up, and either used ladders to scale these fences and get him out, or bolt cutters to cut the chain lock off. And at the minute, the charges being considered are trespass, breaking and entering, and criminal damage.
Okay.
But this man is unnamed. This man has not been named by the people involved. So, but they've got all this crystal clear video footage of him. All they'd have to do is put that on one football site somewhere on WhatsApp or Facebook or whatever it might be. Does anyone know this man? And he's going to swing. It's extraordinary. So that's my little bit of that's my bit of news. But now we must do the rumor mill.
Yes.
So the rumor mill, well, it's confirmed you've left the Hornets, and so the Hornets are looking for a new manager. That's the first thing. The manager's got to be everything that Paul Reardon was and more. Can be from outside the club. Hassan, have you been contacted? Has anyone rung you about that?
No one's rang me. I've been sought after. We've actually me and Roger are only doing the 60s this year. And one of our players and friends come over and said, have you and Roger been ousted out of the 50s team, managing the team? And I said, why is that? And he said, well, they've all been talking. And I said, no, we put a few guys together who we hope that are going to be running the 50s, and me and Roger can concentrate on the 60s. But, I mean, if there was a lucrative offer on the table, but it is really... I think it's a free breakfast every week.
I was going to say, what would tempt you in a free breakfast, a free fry-up once a week?
No,
that's the first thing. Now, also, Mick Elliott, who masterminded the 50s and the 60s to their amazing double this year in Hastings, he's concentrating on the 60s next year. So there's also a vacancy for the Hastings front side manager. And the chairman is inviting applications for that too. So he's considering people within the club who might be interested, and obviously people from outside. So if anyone's watching this and they fancy managing the double winning front team for next year, get in touch. Put a little comment underneath this video, and we'll go from there. Any other rumours, Hassan, that you know of?
You've got me there. I did have some, but I've now gone brain dead.
You've gone brain dead. Well, nothing new there, my friend. Absolutely nothing.
No, it's rumours. No,
you should write them down. You see, when you get a rumour, you should write it down.
Well, there's always people saying stuff that's going to happen that's not really.
Yes, exactly. Exactly. But that's what a rumour mill is about, isn't it? Paul, I must say that it's been an absolute pleasure playing with and for you in the Hornets. I've been a Hornet since they were conceived as an idea, as a second team. I remember how excited Phil Aspinall was. The Hornets! The Hornets! He used to say. And he used to say, if we play the front side, the Hornets are going to win. We're going to win. And we did give our front team more trouble than anybody else, didn't we? So I think that's not a bad thing. So Bill, the chairman, we're very happy with the Hornets. We're looking for this new manager. I presume we can keep the fabulous Rye Oil kit for another season. We don't have to get a new sponsor. We can hold on to that, because all the lads that were playing, they've all got shirts with their names on the backs. I've got the Cat on my one, and they've got their nicknames or their name.
One of the Hornets' top players is on the move, I heard. That was a rumour, or is it true?
Oh, no, that's a done deal now. That was a rumour 2-3 weeks ago.
I wonder how much the transfer deal was for.
Yeah. So Alan Brown has transferred to the front side. And the Riddler, this hasn't yet been confirmed, but the Riddler and chairman are probably going to step back from the front side and rejoin the Hornets, because they were originally co-opted into the Hornets because they were so short, into the first team, because they were so short of players. But I think they're going to come back, and the Riddler being a striker, that's just what we need, is a proper striker that can actually score a few goals. I think he's had last season Riddler got 7 or 8 goals in all competitions for the first team, so he did well. So there we are, gentlemen. We've come to the end of our half hour. Paul, thank you for joining us. It's been great to talk to you. Hassan, I'll see you for breakfast or something shortly. It's your turn to buy. And I would remind everyone, it's really nice if you give us a like, and also if you subscribe to the channel. It doesn't cost you anything. It just makes the channel a bit more fluffy. So from me, it's good night. From Hassan.
Good night, everyone.
And
Thanks,
from Paul Reardon, our guest, it's good night, and we'll see you again.
Good night, everybody.
Bye-bye, everyone.
Tony, thanks, Hassan.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye.